Welcome to the show, everyone. We are Improv Science Theater 4000. That's right, my name is Dr. Thomas Clements. That's right, I'm an actual scientist. We have any scientists in the audience tonight? So, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to make up everything on the spot inspired by our lovely scientist guests. This, for me, will be something that I do not do in my lectures. Well, most of the time. So to get things started, we have a nice game to you by our least scientist friend in the group, Sam.
Despite the number of times I've told Tom computer science is a real science, he refuses to listen. What a man. But we've been arguing a little bit backstage about kind of who actually is the smartest person on the team. I've humbly accepted it's not me. So to figure this out, we're going to play a game we like to call classifications. I'm going to come to you for a category, and then I'm going to point to a performer. They need to tell me something in that category. If they tell me something wrong, I don't like, they take too long, they'll put up one hand. If they get another thing wrong, they'll put up both hands, and then that performer will be out. We will clap twice and say, you're out. So if Tom got two hands, I would say, Tom is? You're out. Yeah. So, we'll make it work. To get us started, I just need a category.
Vegetables.
Vegetables.
Carrots. Peas.
Cucumber.
Kale. Broccoli. Squash. Celery. Potato.
That's not a vegetable. That's one for Lindsay. Another category, please, anybody. Animals.
Tiger.
Lamb.
Drosophila melanogaster.
They seem to like that one.
Rabbit.
Dog.
A bunny.
Cat.
A kangaroo.
Groundhog.
Donnie Herrera.
Is that a real one?
Labradoodle. Fish.
All right. That's all the animals. Another category.
Cats.
Just cats?
Types of cats.
Types of cats.
Garfield.
Little babies.
Tiger.
Persian. Maine
Bob.
Siamese.
Mountain lion.
Cougar. Puma. Tiger. Siberian.
No, he said tiger already. We're getting those people out. Another category?
Cars.
Cars.
Volvo.
Toyota.
Subaru.
Mars.
That's one. Another category. What's that?
Fantasy TV show.
Fantasy TV shows. We all watch those.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Miss Marvel.
Sci-fi, not fantasy.
What?
Yeah.
You're at no.
I'm out.
No, we got 4 people left. Another category. Shoes.
Pumps.
Sandals.
Nike.
Nike.
Tennis.
Puma.
And then high heels.
Skechers.
Light up. The pump ones. The ones that you can press and it changes the little ink color thing.
Wheelies. Heelys.
Soccer cleats.
Oh, shoot. Where are the ones that Post Malone has? Crocs.
Flat floor. Double flat floor.
No, you can have more platforms. That's one for
So
instance.
you want to.
You're too tall for platforms. Another category. Spices. Spices. We're good. Spicy.
Cumin.
Paprika. Oregano. Basil.
Thyme.
Red pepper.
Spare.
Seal.
Monkey. Monkey was what I was.
Hey! We got 3 people left. No points on set. Who's got a category?
Infectious disease.
Infectious diseases.
Scurvy.
Nope. We got 2 left. Could be the last category. He's got a really spicy, juicy category.
Very dead spices.
What's that?
Fabric.
Fabrics.
Felt. Flannel. Just cotton. Under Armour, special technology.
That's got a name. Who's got my absolutely last category?
Boy bands.
Boy band. Seth's excited. Go ahead.
LFO. 98 degrees. Backstreet Boys. NSYNC.
One Direction.
Seth wins, and therefore the start.
And now, what you've all been waiting for, let's bring up the real smartest person in the room, Alexis Jameson, who's a graduate student at the Vanderbilt Brain Institute in the Grutter and McMahon Labs.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me? Yes. My name is Alexis, as Tom said, Dr. Simon said, and I am a neuroscientist. And today I'm going to tell you about the neurobiology of Hot Girl Summer. You guys are all aware of Hot Girl Summer, and if you're not, that's okay. I'm going to go over a brief history of Hot Girl Summer first, and then I'll give you a little bit about my science and how it relates to Hot Girl Summer. So there we go. Yes, the neurobiology of Hot Girl Summer. So Megan Stallion is a rapper, and she's been out famous for a while. And in 2019, around this time, she tweeted, "Being a hot girl is about being unapologetically you, having fun, being confident, living your truth, being the life of the party, etc." And so she graciously defined hot girl for us already. She already popularized the term. There's something called real hot girl shit that you can hashtag. This is great. So then 15 minutes later, she tweeted, "I feel like it's only right I drop a Hot Girl Summer song before the summer is over." And so this makes sense because for hot girls, the season is summer. And so she needed to do it by the end of summer. So then 5 days later, news comes out that she's already trademarking the term Hot Girl Summer before the song even comes out. Why does she do this? Because she's a genius. And she obviously knew what she was doing. She knew that it was going to be really relatable across women all over the world. And she goes on to burst into fame, win all these Grammys, win all these awards, specifically for Hot Girl Summer, among other things for herself. And it blew up. And now, like, people 3 years later are still hashtagging this and talking about and preparing for a Hot Girl Summer. And so today, this whole phenomenon raises the question, why is Hot Girl Summer so relatable? Number one, some of us in this room know. What universal truths hide within Hot Girl Summer that make it so relatable? And number three, is there a biological explanation for Hot Girl Summer and why so many women relate to it? And today I hope to convince you that there is a biological reason and that my thesis research actually will tell us what that is. So this is a left turn. We're just going to go straight into science now. So photoperiod is just another word for day length. And photoperiodism is the response of an organism to seasonal changes in day length. And so some of the most obvious examples of this are things like migration, hibernation, mating season. But in humans, one of the ones that I think a lot of us can relate to is things like mood changes or seasonal affective disorder. And so my main overarching question for my thesis is, how does day length change the brain to cause seasonal changes in behavior? What's going on in there? And so in order to study this, I chose this specific system, the dopamine system. So So a lot of you might be already familiar with dopamine as the brain's pleasure chemical, but it actually does a lot more than just signal reward. It's involved in so many behaviors, some of which I have up here. There's even more that it's involved in. But really, recent research is suggesting that dopamine just cues you into things that are important and that will help you survive. And often, those things that will help you survive are rewarding and are pleasurable. And so I thought that this system would be a really great candidate to see, like, is this system changing? Is that the basis of the changes in behavior we see throughout the seasons? And so in order to test that hypothesis, I use mice. And so we have these light type cabinets that we use that can control their light cycle, and I use 3 separate groups. The winter light group has short days, so this is mimicking the northern hemisphere. I have a control group which has a 12-hour light cycle, which is just typical of all laboratory animals really. And then the summer condition is 16-hour days, long days. And so the only manipulation I'm making to these mice is how long they're exposed to light. That's all it is within a 24-hour period. And so how am I going, what is my output measure? What am I actually measuring in these animals? So I use this technique called fast scan cyclic voltammetry, and we're gonna get through this. So I basically take these brains, humanely sacrifice these animals, and take brain slices and I keep them alive in artificial cerebrospinal fluid. So these brain slices are alive on a microscope. And I have these 2 electrodes, one of them will stimulate dopamine release and the other one will record that. And so just to get you a brief overview of how dopamine signaling works in the reward circuit of your brain, that little blue thing is the end of a brain cell or a neuron. Dopamine is released from that neuron through a little package called a vesicle, and then it does its signaling to its partner receptors, and then it gets vacuumed back up very quickly by a protein called DAP up there. And so what it looks like for me when I'm recording those signals, it looks like a little spike, like that shown on the left. So we get this release of it, and then it's very quickly taken back up to be recycled and released again by the dopamine transporter. So we use this technique, and what we found is that mice raised in these different photo periods actually do show changes in dopamine release in this huge reward center in the brain called the accumbens. And so you can see very clearly on the right, the winter-like mice and the control mice, that's actually a normal amount of dopamine that's released. But in the summer condition, we have this huge spike in dopamine that's released just by the same stimulation I'm using for the other groups. And we do this across different stimulation frequencies because there's different, firing patterns of dopamine neurons. We wanted to make sure that our effect that we saw was not dependent on that. And it wasn't. Across the board, we saw that the summer-like mice had more dopamine release in the brain. What was even more interesting is that when we split this data up into males and females, we saw that the effect was just driven by the females alone. So, really. The males, they have regular dopamine release. It's not like it's, bad or wrong or anything. It's just isn't affected by the seasons. Whereas, or at least my manipulation of how long the day is. In the females, you can see really clearly in the orange group that mimics the summer-like conditions, they're blowing it out of the water. They have such high dopamine release across the board. And we thought this was really, really interesting. We actually didn't expect to see anything by sex at first. And so I wanted to follow this up and see why is the dopamine release going crazy in these animals. And we did some further analysis. So I told you before there's that release of it and then it gets taken back up. And so it being taken back up determines how long that dopamine is out there and how long it has to do its signaling basically. And so on the left, it's just the release event again, showing that it's really the females driving it. And then number 2 is the reuptake, which is like the slope of how fast it's being taken back up. And that one is even more stark of an effect, where the females, it is rapidly taking that dopamine up, which means that it is ready to fire again over and over and over at the same amount that's elevated. And so this was really exciting. And overall, what we found is that to answer the question of like what changes within the brain that causes these changes in behavior, we did find one thing that changes in females, which is that dopamine signaling in the reward circuit is enhanced in summer-like conditions, but only in the females. And so up next, I will tell you about what happens when we give these mice cocaine.
trust me, I know, because I am also a smart person. That's right. No applause, like how I got the So what we are going to do though, okay, sometimes the things that they're saying, there's always room for improvement, right? We call these revisions. Okay? So what's going to happen is they're going to say something. I'm going to date this little bell. And just like scientific genius Megan Thee Stallion says, it never happened if the dick wasn't snapping. So, if I don't like what they say or I think it could be improved, I'm going to say new choice. And they're going to change what they said and we're going to exist like it's the only thing that was said. So if Sam were to say,
I have a dog. I have a cat. I have a normal amount of male dopamine. I don't get any extra.
and carry on as though that's the only thing he said, which is good for you. So we are going to go ahead and I'm going to need a suggestion from you guys, maybe something you heard from the lecture. That's where you speak to me, a word.
Brain slice.
What was that?
Brain
slice. Brain slice.
Master. I got the brain you want. Juiciest I can find.
Yeah, that's a good one. Is it a pterodactyl?
No, I didn't know you could turn down.
Oh, what
That
is
was
it?
just my father.
I think we can work with this. That's pretty stupid. Who needs your dad's brain? He was really dumb.
He sure didn't.
Fair. But I would, okay. Trying to study how they fly.
So I can get a pterodactyl brain.
I asked you to do that the first time, so I'm.
Sorry, I have my father's brain.
Should we come? I've been meaning to talk to you about this. Should we come up with new tasks for you to do that are less murderous and important?
I like murder. Yes, I hate murdering things. Please give me new tasks, Master. I will do anything for you.
So sweet. Oh, okay. So let's just start by sweeping because this place is really getting a mess. So.
Okay. I sweep with the mop, right?
No.
Oh, I screwed that one up too!
I was getting right just.
No?
No. But I have a new task for you. We're going to test whether something is electric by you putting it in your mouth.
Okay. The brook's not electric?
No, but you're obviously known for something, so I'm just trying to work to your strengths here.
I have strengths.
Yeah, everyone's got strengths.
No one's ever told me I had strengths before.
Oh, you got strengths.
They always called me weak little gremlin man. They always called me tiny baby poo-poo head. The kids on the playground were so mean! But not you, you're nice.
I did call you tiny baby poo head. That was me. I just, in the realm of honesty, just thought I would.
You started the room. My brain was full of poo.
Well, you said yourself you had your father's brain, and that's.
I mean, I literally took it and put it in my head and then gave it to you.
You gave me your brain.
Well, it was a hand-me-down from my father. It's been in the family for a generation.
Hold on. I'm studying brains here, and you're telling me you did a brain transplant between your father and yourself, and you are standing here.
Yes.
I think you've got a lot more strengths than we've discussed here.
Wait, you're saying I should be the brain scientist? You should go get a pterodactyl brain.
Ooh. Oh.
brain surgery.
On what?
Mice, dogs, you. I'll get the chainsaw.
Where's my brain going? Yes, see?
Next up, we are going to be playing a game called Lab Partners. And Sam's going to tell you more about that.
I'm gonna tell you so much.
So,
So I'm about to play DJ with these people and spin them around. But first, we're gonna get a suggestion from you all. How about something that you stepped onto?
Cockroach.
I heard poop first.
I heard poop first. Poop.
For Sam and Mary Claire, let's get something that fell out of the sky.
Your mom.
Bird shit.
Your mom.
Bird shit. Bird shit.
We got a theme.
Bird shit. Rotate right. And for Sam and Libby, let's get one that you could talk about in class.
So let's make it non-fecal.
Yes.
Urine.
It's not wrong. Urine. Rotate right.
Thank
And for Thomas and Libby, something that you would put on your resume to look good.
Puppies. Lies.
Rotate right. Poop. Rotate right. Bird shit. Rotate right.
Urine.
Urine.
Lies.
Lies.
Rotate right.
Why are you looking at me like that? I gotta hurt the dog. Are you telling me you don't hurt your dog?
He died 8 years ago.
Oh.
I brought it into the lab, and I don't know what got into me, but I started doing fast scan cyclic potentry on him.
I'm gonna put this in the bin, and then I might have you explain that to me.
He was just so excited to go to work with me. He jumped on the counter, and before I knew, I was taking brain slices and stimulating them with dopamine. No one's ever asked. This is the first time I've actually felt a connection with someone besides my mice.
Rotate right.
See that guy over there?
Yeah.
How many points?
25.
Your turn.
Oh, that one coming right out of the beauty salon. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
got her hair did.
Oh, I forgot to ask you how many points. Do I still get points?
No, you gotta ask before you do it.
Danny, baby, you're in luck. I found my keys.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God, right? I found them.
I was ready.
So-
I was so ready to break into your car.
Now you don't have to. I know you don't have to. I can actually drive myself places, which is great.
I kind of want to.
You know, I don't hate that idea. Like, just for fun, like you can like pop the lock and like.
I was gonna smash the windows.
Are you gonna pay for them to like get a new window?
I'm imagining the more like open concept car.
Okay, so no windows, like a convertible.
Yes, but you can't unconfirm it. It's more like a permanent.
So like a Jeep that some guy would drive and then he loses the cover on it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that fits your style.
Okay, so what's my job in this role play scenario? Why like, oh no, he's breaking into my car! Ooh.
Yeah, you freak out, you call the police.
Okay.
I get arrested.
Right?
Rotate right.
Baby, this summer heat is making all these chemicals in my brain go nuts. Feel it in my beard. Masculine energy with brain chemicals.
Daryl, I gotta tell you something.
You're not feeling my brain chemicals, Elizabeth?
No, your brain chemicals are fine.
Oh yeah, they are.
I prefer the brain chemicals of your brother.
He's not even a real man. Doesn't even have a beard.
He can grow. Maybe, or not. You know, beards don't define. Masculinity is kind of a free thing. You know, it can be whatever you want it to be. And you know who knows that? Mark.
Rotate right.
Hey!
Oh hey, I was waiting outside your house.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean,
It's on my way to work.
Andrew, I was expecting you.
Oh, this is normal.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Normal human interactions.
Yeah, I mean, you were dog sitting Frida this week, right? I mean, I was
Frida
dog off
sitting
and-
Frida, yes.
Yeah, so anyway, where is she? Is she in the car?
She's going to be in this new figure in this new scientific publication.
No, Andrew, you promised me that if I entrusted you with Frida, that this was like a new leaf.
You know I don't study plants.
I guess it's on
Frida
me.
will live forever in the terms of nature methods. She's in figure 1 and figure 5.
You know, I've been thinking, maybe there's more to life than pooping on people. I think we should try for something more dangerous, more exciting.
Yeah. What's more exciting than pooping on people?
I want to poop on a car. From like directly in front of it while it's barreling down the highway. No! Yeah. How many points for that one?
I mean, you can do it without also ending up on the car. I mean,
That's a risk I'm willing to take.
you heard of the story about Jerry, right?
Fuck Jerry. Jerry ain't got shit on me. I'm the best pooper.
I don't know.
Get it? He ain't got shit on me?
Jerry. Always were good puns.
Nah, I'm gonna be real good at this one.
But listen to me. Jerry, he had 3,500 points. He got real balls. He thought he'd go for a semi.
Okay, maybe I should start with a small sedan.
Rotate right.
Okay, baby. You're in luck. I was able to open the window and I got in their house.
Alright. What's in there?
Well, the door that I opened and the window that I crawled through is like a bathroom. It's like a beach-themed bathroom.
They got toiletries.
Yeah, they have toiletries.
You should steal those toiletries.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna break into the garage and steal their paint supplies.
God, I love when you're needlessly violent.
I love when we do senseless crimes.
I'm gonna shit in their toilet.
Don't flush!
I'm not gonna flush.
I'm gonna open their garage freezer so their food spoils.
I'm gonna look like I took a bunch of stuff that was really expensive but not, so then they'd wonder forever what I took. I'll just hide shit. I'll hide the remotes.
I'm gonna go to every painting in their house and make it slightly askew by 1 degree.
You're so smart. Your criminal brain is just, I never felt so alive.
Would we have sex in their bed?
Rotate right.
Look, Elizabeth, my little, ugly, very short brother has a beard now. You can't possibly be into him. Look at this masculine energy.
Again with the masculine.
It's hot boy fall.
That's why I'm wearing flannel.
If you were too hot, I just need you to take it off. It's
Oh, okay.
Hi, Daryl.
I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah. Frankly. Daryl, I think we need to have a bigger discussion about your issues with masculinity. You know?
That I'm just so cool and tough.
Cool is subjective.
Yeah, and I'm a senator from West Virginia.
I put the seat down.
That's right, you do. See, masculinity, it's
Oh, she's
Not
got
to-
a woman's flame to me again.
I was going to say, not to woman-splain to you, but let me tell you about being a man, okay? Lots of different things you can do. That and anything that you do, as long as you've got ability, that means it's masculine. If that's how you want to identify.
And you want to identify with this one?
I definitely want to identify with this loser, yes.
I'm letting her talk.
This is your last chance, all right? Show me your lab, all right?
Okay, it's gonna look like an abandoned puppy farm. Which it is.
Kill.
This one is for you. You can slice his brain, and you can be a part of one of the figures.
Okay, no, I can't. I'm going to have to, I mean, you are the best thing I have ever found on Bumble, but. I'm going to have to break it off.
I got a scalpel.
You can't afford to be lonely. You can slice me.
Never forget your first time murdering an innocent lab animal.
Rotate right.
I'm going for it! Fuck! Dave, fly down here to me. Points.
You're dying with 10,000 points!
Yeah!
Oh, good. The points matter in this world. What's he gonna do with the points? Wherever he's going.
My bird Jesus, I have 10,000 points.
You're in luck. I was able to sneak into that abandoned puppy farm. I adopted all of them.
Yes! I love genetic mutations that are horrific and awful.
You know what? You know what they say. You never forget your first brain surgery. Right? Is that what you said? You never forget it.
I was just gonna bash him with this hammer.
Bash me.
Oh, God.
You wanna bash one?
It's 12,000 points.
For what? What do you use the points for?
I don't know, this basher.
Okay.
Ooh, that's so hot!
Rotate right.
Elizabeth, I've changed.
don't know, I just like the smell of it. You can't deny the masculine musk, you know?
It's the smell of woke feminist male winter.
For our next piece, everybody knows that one scientist. I know one scientist for sure who always gets on my nerves. And we're gonna, have to deal with that scientist whenever they show up. Well, our three performers here are working at a scientific journal. What kind of scientific journal would you like to see them be working in? Maybe some kind of science related to what we talked about earlier?
It could be imaginary.
Be an imaginary science?
How to travel in space, time, and space. Yeah.
How to travel in space, time, and space. Magazine. And at some point, we're going to meet that one scientist. We're going to call them Jerry. And we're just going to enjoy watching Jerry ruin their lives. Take it away.
And that was such a fun trip to the moon, you guys.
Yeah. Faster than usual, though. It was a nice bonus.
Thanks for getting those extra bonus, boss.
You know what? We're on a deadline, so we really had to make it back. If we wouldn't have had stuff at Saturn, we would have made it here a little sooner.
And we didn't need that equipment, so that was fine to throw
This
that
guy
off.
wanted to see some rings, but he forgot that the other planets like Jupiter have rings too.
Well, I'm just glad that we have everything we need here. Okay,
Well, if Jerry doesn't take it.
Don't bring up
don't-
Jerry.
I thought we ditched Jerry.
Oh, Jerry's totally still on the team.
No.
I thought we won.
I thought we ditched him on fucking Neptune.
Should have thrown him out.
Jerry's the worst.
Okay. The part I hate the most is like, as when he enters and leaves a room, he always has to be like this weird shape, like he's just constantly cold all the time.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, wait. It's
Like-
not that cold in the summertime, okay? It's pretty hot, actually.
It's the same temperature for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing I hate the most about Jerry is he's always trying to make up these jokes, and whenever like his joke like lands, or if it doesn't land, he's always like chow chow real smooth.
And nobody even laughs either. So,
And then she steals my lunch.
Hey guys! Thought you ditched me over there on Neptune.
oh, we thought that
Thought about
you
it.
were here.
Oh, yeah.
No, we thought you were in the bathroom.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were gonna come back.
Yeah.
I bet Uranus you were.
We didn't just make that planet.
So cute.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's that? I was seeing things.
Oh.
So what's the next place we're going? I'm so excited.
Home.
Yeah, to our own home.
No, I meant like, what's our next like adventure? You know?
Oh,
But can I go to your house?
No.
That's an adventure.
You can go.
That's an
You
adventure.
can go to Steve's house. He's really lonely.
Yeah.
I have so many bets.
I get it. Yeah. Cool. So we're going to your house? Do you have pizza rolls?
No.
I can bring them.
He's got some extra lunch.
I'm single, I got pizza rolls.
Me too, buddy. Who knows why? Look at these two eligible bachelors.
I don't want to do that with her.
Maybe you should go and pack some things to go home.
Yeah, pack some stuff to take to Steve's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go look at some stuff in
Sacrifices.
the supply closet. It might not be there.
Yeah.
That's not my problem.
What the
You
hell?
have to do this
Are
for
you
us.
freaking kidding me?
Maybe you can go down a little.
He's gonna eat all my pizza rolls. Did you see him start to drool?
I mean, his chest
Yeah.
like he's Donkey Kong?
Like, I wish you could report that. It's technically not.
It's
Not
not
against the
hurting
rule.
anybody, so. Just don't make it hurt, okay?
Because mad, but like,
Make sure he
Make
has
sure he
pizza.
stays
Just
excited. Because he needs to stay excited to go to your house.
it's not in my house.
If he stays excited, he's not going to do weird stuff. When he's excited, just kind of like skips around and sings random Disney songs.
That would be pretty.
That's better than this. That's problematic.
It's
We're-
just a sing along.
Just don't tell him about any more of our plans. He's gonna steal it and claim it.
You have,
Oh,
He's gonna plagiarize. That's
you're
what he
right, he
does.
does it every time.
that's why we should fire him. This is a scientific journal. We can't plagiarize.
Let it go, let it go. I'm over the wind.
You're really excited.
Yeah, I am.
Action.
Does anybody's ranch dressing? It didn't have a name on it, so I took it.
That is my ranch dressing.
I took it. I already licked it.
You can keep it.
Yeah, Steve's so excited he got to hang out. He loves ranch.
Yeah, good. Well, I was bringing it because this is what I do with my beach rolls, right? I put them in a big cereal bowl, and then I use the ranch as milk.
That's fine.
No, it's actually really, really good.
Steve, you're
It's really, really good. What do you-
I don't think I will. I
What do
think
you-
I'll lose all my food and my
I know.
pets will run away.
Steve, I have a question for you. What about ranch as a crime?
Don't make him have to.
I was not saying ranch itself is a crime.
Loves
The
ranch,
improper
loves it.
use of ranch would be a crime.
Well, yeah,
That's
what's the proper
absurd.
use of ranch?
So do it normally. Like there's no.
What's a normal way to do
Like
that?
a portion.
Instructions on the back of the
You're eating it like cereal. That's disgusting.
I don't think so!
No, he loves it. He was making that joke. And chop, 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 chop.
Oh, well, he's gone.
This next game, you know, we know that science is very serious, right? And we're all serious actors up here, as you can tell. So for this next game, we are going to make it very, very serious. So if at any time our actors make you laugh, the person at the back line is going to ding a bell and take the place of whichever actor made you laugh, and then try and commit to the serious scene, okay? And this is really just a hodgepodge of funness, so let's begin.
No, it's serious, no laughs.
Sorry, no laughs. No.
Can we get a suggestion of
Wait,
something?
yeah, I got it. I needed a second, I was really serious. All right, center yourself. What do you suggest? Any suggestion from the first discussion we heard from Alexis? Any word that stuck out to you? Cocaine. Yeah, she's been dying to say that.
Very serious scene about cocaine. So, you got the stuff?
I got the stuff. You got the payment?
Please pay.
Hey.
I thought you said paper.
Hey.
You're gonna see the payment.
Oh, I see it right here. That's good enough, right?
You're gonna get it up close. You.
I've already done that today. I didn't.
I've already done that today. You know, I like saw a ladybug crossing the street and I just didn't want it to get run over, so I just picked it up.
What
And they moved it.
kind of soft motherfucker they sending me that watches ladybugs?
What kind of soft motherfucker are they sending me up?
Kind of soft motherfuckers you looking at there.
What kind of soft
soft motherfuckers just watching ladybugs.
This one? This soft motherfucker?
This soft motherfucker.
I need some serious energy from you, okay? I can't have cuddles and mush for my business enterprise.
What's wrong with liking a lady? Nature, life is sacred.
Oh, you real soft. Like, soft on the inside and on the outside.
Yeah. It's 2022. We can be that. And
Look,
also
look,
celebrate.
It's fine. We can all do that. Yeah.
So if I need you to go into a place and bump off an old lady for her necklace.
Yeah, we can do some bumping.
No, bumping.
Bumping. Yeah, bumping. I can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then some of this. Boop.
You got a lot of skills. That's why I took all these baggies and put sandwiches in them.
I got a lot of skills. You know, that's why I took all these bags and put sandwiches in them.
Okay. What the fuck are you doing here, man?
Oh, I think that was the old lady that we were supposed to bump with the necklace.
Joke's on you. It's me, Fred.
Oh shit, Fred. Hey, dude, it's Fred. Get him. Get him.
Hey, so Fred, it's nice to meet you.
It's good to meet you. Bring it in.
Such a new, nice enterprise. I'm not getting. Oh!
I want to snap Fred. Let the whole thing go.
Whoa! You thought you got me, but I thought you were dead. For my name isn't Fred.
But my name is Fred.
You got another mask on? Old Man Jenkins! We're gonna take a brief 10-minute pause. Get yourself a drink, go to the bathroom. Take care of that business out there. We'll see you back here in about 5 minutes.
Thanks for coming back, everyone. And Stan, that's Dr. Tom. I spent 6 years on this shit. That's right, some of y'all know what I'm talking about. And now, we're gonna bring back what you've all been waiting for. What happens when mice have cocaine with Alexis Jameson.
Okay, hi everybody. Yeah, so we did give the mice cocaine. So, right, where we left off is that we do know that their dopamine signaling in the reward circuit is changed by seasons in females only, not in the males. There is no hot boy fall. But how do these differences in dopamine dynamics affect behavior? I told you before that dopamine does control a ton of behaviors. And we know that it's different. So we hypothesized like something about their behavior must be different. And I also told you that that little vacuum that prepares the dopamine neuron for the next release is enhanced, and it's vacuuming at a very high rate in these females. So fun fact, we used cocaine in these mice, but we didn't quite use it as a drug of abuse or a recreational drug. We use it as a pharmacological tool, which is a lot less fun. But basically, one of the mechanisms of action of cocaine is that it blocks that vacuum. It blocks the dopamine transporter. And that's why you get this accumulation of dopamine because it's not being sucked back up, and that's what causes the rewarding effects. But it doesn't only cause rewarding effects and euphoria and things like that, it also causes you to get really hyper, and we can measure that in animals. So in mice, the way we can measure that is that when you give them an injection, oh sorry, back to one side. Well, this is fine too. When you give a mouse cocaine, it runs around a ton, like they run around a lot, yeah. And so we put them in these little chambers, these little behavioral boxes that can measure the amount that they're running around. And we're just going to see whether or not that's different across these groups because we know that little vacuum is different and because cocaine acts on that. So now the data, which is that this is the males first. And so for the first 20 minutes before that dotted line, you can see that they're just running around, they're doing great. But then we give them an injection of cocaine, and you can see that they run around a lot more. Their locomotor activity or the distance that they travel within that box increases really quickly. And then over time, as the cocaine is metabolized in their brain, they start to go back to normal. And so on the left is just all of that quantified, and you can see that, again, in the males, they do like cocaine, they do respond to it, but they don't have any difference in the amount that they like cocaine based on these seasonal manipulations. However, in the females, we do have a difference. So again, in the first 20 minutes, you can see that they're all kind of the same, they're exploring the box. I give them the cocaine injection, and the summer-like and controlled conditions, they go crazy, they love the cocaine. But the winter females, the ones that are raised in a winter-like condition, actually have this blunted locomotor response to cocaine, which means that they're less sensitive to it, and they're not responding that way that we would expect them to. And that, again, is quantified on the left. And so this is great. This kind of goes along with our hypothesis where we know that, originally we set out to try and study seasonal affective disorder, and this aligns with that, where rewarding things might not be as rewarding anymore in the wintertime, for females especially. So we found that the cocaine did something different in the animals with their behavior, but we wanted to go back and see whether or not cocaine actually was acting differently in the brain, right? Like we didn't look at their brain here, we're just measuring how much they were running around. So we wanted to make sure that our hypothesis was correct and that cocaine actually acts differently in the brain on dopamine dynamics in this reward center that we're measuring. So we measured that. I basically did the fast scan cyclic voltammetry again, in brain slices again, and we measured something called competitive inhibition. It just looks at how sensitive these animals are to cocaine. And in the graph on the left, in the females, you can see that the summer-like animals, or the females raised in the summer, are a lot more sensitive to cocaine. They are, in the brain at least, cocaine is acting a lot more potent. And so this was awesome because it kind of confirmed our hypotheses that, dopamine signaling is different based on seasons. We wanted to know if something was changing in the brain to control that. We found that cocaine, which acts on the system, also was treating or acting differently in these animals. So it wasn't just something in the brain. We actually could tangibly measure that in an animal's behavior. And then we brought that back and showed that that drug that changes their behavior is also changing the system in the brain again. So that's it for the scientific data, but I do want to wrap it all up. So basically what we discovered through this study is that day length and biological sex influence dopamine signaling and behavior in animals. So we have this cool interaction between females, seasons, and the dopamine system that might explain hot girl summer. But I want to give you one last piece to think about. Right, so this is kind of my overarching hypothesis. So we know that on the very right, the seasons are affecting dopamine. That's what I showed you. What's really interesting actually is that the seasons also affect female estrous cycle in mammals, and that's evidenced by mating season, right? So the seasons are influencing female hormonal cycles, and that's what kind of drives mating seasons within mammals. So that's a known effect as well. What's really cool is that there's other other researchers at Vanderbilt that actually have shown that the estrous cycle or the hormonal female cycle within mammals also affects the dopamine system. So actually there's a study from a professor at Vanderbilt named Dr. Erin Calipari who found that different phases of the estrous cycle, specifically when female mice are ovulating, their dopamine system has the same effects that I saw, where they have elevated dopamine release and reuptake, the same thing that I saw. And so our hypothesis is that in seasons, when mating season is happening, and it's really important for females to develop their fetuses, their little babies that they're having in the spring and summer. And then in the summer seasons when it's really important for these females to cue into important rewarding things in their environment that signal, survival and help them raise their young, they need their dopamine system to be tuned up in those seasons. And so what we think, all my research did was the right arm of this triangle, finding that seasons affect dopamine. But this previous research suggests that there's this really cool interaction in female mammals where in the summertime, when a lot of mammals evolutionarily are mating and having young and all these things, and they need to cue into those survival things and things that are rewarding to them, their dopamine system is kicking it up a notch. And they actually are able to cue into those things. And so what I want to leave you with today is that I do think that there is a biological basis for hot girl summer, and I think that we're getting to that. But I also want to say that I think it's really cool that, hot girl summer is not only a hashtag or a phenomenon, it's how women are built.
Drugs, it's a pharmaceutical tool.
No, I don't.
It's science in here.
You give me that argument every time, Marty.
And it works every time.
It works for you every
Yeah,
time.
it makes me feel like I'm not doing crimes.
You know what? When I do crimes, I like to feel it happening. I want to know that my crimes are affecting me and my nervous system. Like, you're just numbing yourself, Marty. Just numbing it all out.
You ain't wrong. But it's still pretty good. Look, I'm just saying when the police show up, they're gonna arrest you, and I'll be like, officer, I'm doing the science. Thank you, have a good day.
You think the officer's gonna buy that?
Yep. Here they are.
Hey! I'll be the good guy.
Yeah.
Ain't no such thing.
How can we help you, officer?
Grace.
We see some crimes going on here.
That's how the bad contacts.
You should.
We see some crimes.
You could have also gone with I asked the questions here, but that's you.
I ask the questions. Are you doing crimes?
I'm not doing a crime.
No, you're clearly doing science.
I didn't even register that as bad.
No,
It's not, it's science.
It's obvious it's not.
Marty, I feel like you're punking me. These can't possibly be real cops.
Oh, no, we have very little training.
But we got the pants.
Got the cop pants.
Well, we're not doing anything wrong, as you heard. Marty's just over here
He's
doing
not
some
doing
stuff.
anything
You
wrong.
are.
You're the one.
I'm not even drinking a beer.
That's not a
Better
crime.
not
That's something a beer drinker would say.
Oh, snap. It's one of those lines. And it's a female line. She's trapped in a know that in the winter it's all good, if you know what I'm saying.
No, I don't know what you're saying. Elaborate.
So I was just saying, like, if she let me in that little box for some fun times, you know, like, that's all it's gonna be.
Dude, it's 2022. Me Too movement exists. You can't do this.
She never said no.
She doesn't say anything. She's on mine.
All right, gather around, kids. Come on. All right, I got this idea to be cool, so I'm gonna patent it, copyright it, and then it's my idea.
That's how that works.
You got a song, Dad?
Oh, it's better than a song.
What is it?
Yeah.
You ready for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First, I'm gonna put my hat on this way,
Oh, this is so cool.
Wait, frontwards?
frontwards.
That's not cool.
That's
Exactly.
I think it's
You know
cool.
what?
Wait a minute.
Stop kissing up to dad.
I gotta catch her.
Well, let's hear it.
And when I'm ready to entertain, I go to the grill, I spin it around, I go, it's party time.
I
Right?
stole that from Pokemon.
That's a Pokemon.
God, you're so not cool.
Yeah.
You can't take you to any barbecues around Dunedin.
You guys want to see how I sit in the chair now?
Yeah, kind of. Oh, God.
What's up?
Brad, you look like an aggressive youth pastor.
That's going to be very party time, I agree.
Party time works for me.
I mean, if you get rid of the hat
And the
and
chair.
the chair, and you try to learn at least what one Pokemon is.
What if I combine several things together
I
all
want
at
to see. I
once?
want to see what that looks like.
Alright, I'm just going to leave the chair here and I'm going to go.
I hope you use that.
We just go.
Just act like you guys are like at a party or something.
Okay.
Whoa! Hey! What's up?
That is the creepiest thing I've ever seen. I'm actually threatened.
Invite some friends over.
No!
Alright, I'm going to read you a book. It's a very good book.
Oh, good. It's good.
Okay. When you give my mouse cocaine. When you give a mouse cocaine, he's gonna want to open a restaurant. When you give a mouse a restaurant, he's gonna lose all his money because you can't open a restaurant in this market. When a mouse has lost all its money, he's going to turn to heroin. When you give a mouse heroin, do you see the needle going in? Yeah? Okay. When you give a mouse heroin, he's somehow going to end up with prostitutes. Or sex workers. Sorry, the book is old.
You can't be reading this to my daughter.
It's a good book.
No, you tried to read this
It's
to me.
a great lesson.
Well, what's the lesson?
Well, if you would let me get to the end.
Mommy, it's a good book. There's heroin in it.
You can't.
It's not heroin. I will just, you need to teach them about things. Just let me continue. Yes, okay.
I'm so sorry.
When a mouse has sex workers,
Prostitute.
we don't say that anymore. It's 2022.
Okay, so far that's actually very educational
Yes.
in this book.
When a mouse hangs out around sex workers, he's going to murder one of them. Just wait. When a mouse commits murder, he goes on the lam. I don't really know what that means, but I think he goes to Mexico. When a mouse goes to Mexico, he gets rung up in a big drug cartel.
Mom, she doesn't know
Cartel.
cartel.
Oh,
It
okay.
looks like a lot of wagons in a row.
A cartel is where you sell a bunch of cocaine, like we did at the beginning. So then instead of being the consumer, he becomes the seller. I'm teaching her how to be a girl boss.
Where's the sun? Where the fuck is the goddamn sun?
I don't know. Oh God.
Did you steal the sun?
Dude, it's Alaska.
I've been alive for 27 days and I know that there's a sun up there.
I just want it to end.
You killed the sun?
No! But we're in Alaska. It doesn't come around, or it doesn't go down. And then all the women play the music non-stop, and they party, and I can't sleep.
I just want to know where the sun went.
I'm here to tease you for 30 minutes! Sun!
Where's the music? We gotta dance!
I can't do this anymore. This is seance. Make it.
Oh, it's gone again.
Oh. Damn it.
Bring it back.
I'm telling you, it pokes it out, and everybody parties for a little bit, and then it's just madness. It's Alaska. It's freaking crazy.
I don't think he's alright.
No need to explain.
Did you hear that? No, it's nothing for a little bit. I'm gonna sleep.
Did you bring meth here? The thing in Florida is meth gators.
We have no meth in Alaska.
What's up?
He brought meth.
Oh, she's opening the door. Hey, pretty lady. Oh, you got me. You put me in the box? What? No. Oh, it's winter. All right, I guess I'll do it too. I am feeling it, but clearly not as much as she is.
Thank you all for coming to my talk on giving cocaine to minors. Before we wrap it up, we're going to do one more thing. Have everybody been having a good time tonight? If you were to rate our show on some sort of rate my professor thing, would you give us like 5 stars? Would you give us 5 peppers? Yes. We're going to talk a little bit about how we would rate some of our professors. So we're going to get a suggestion from you and then tell you how our professors are like that suggestion. So if you were to say something like coffee, I might say, my professor is like a coffee week. So can I get a suggestion from the audience of an object, maybe something in your car right now?
Drugs.
We are not cops, so.
Yeah, we're cool.
My professor is like drugs. He's a pharmacological tool.
My professor's like drugs, just way too expensive. Come on.
My professor's like drugs. You think we like handle them legally, but we still can't get rid of them.
My professor's like drugs, works better on the women than the men.
My professor's like drugs. It makes me stay up all night, and it doesn't get fun.
Can we get another object?
Garden hose.
Garden hose. Garden hose.
My professor's like a garden hose. He's full of water.
My professor's like a garden hose all wrapped up in himself.
My professor's like a garden hose. He's kind of broken a bit over time over use and constant abuse.
My professor's like a garden hose. Kinky.
My professor's like a garden hose. He's got a lot of pressure.
Let's switch up. Let's go for an occupation this time.
Stripper.
My professor literally is a stripper because they don't get paid enough.
My professor's like a stripper. If you touch him, you get kicked out.
We have another show on August 18th. So I hope to see you all again there. Thank you all. Drive safe. Have a great